Let's get right into it. Chapter 7, verse number 1. V'yemer Hashem, and Hashem said Noach to Noach, boy, come, Ata, you, v'chol beisach, an entire home, Elateva, to the ark, ki oischa ra'isi, because you I have seen, tzaddik, to be a righteous person, lefanai, before me, bedor hazeh, in this generation. Ra'isi tzaddik. So Rashi's bothered because we already know the beginning of yesterday's Torah portion that that he's already a righteous person. So what does it mean I see now? But here it doesn't say a perfectly righteous. Mikan, from here we understand that you only tell a part of the praise of the individual before them. Kulai and all of it, that not in his presence. So yesterday, when we said that he was a tzaddik tamim, he was a complete tzaddik, right? Faultless, if you will. That was done not in his presence. Today, we're talking about in his presence. So in his presence, you only give half of praise. You give a partial praise, not full praise. That's why he doesn't see he was a complete or faultless tzaddik.
What was he? Was he complete or not?
Well, we just answered. We just said. We said, this is talking to him. So when you talk to him, yes, you don't say that he is complete.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
When you speak of him, not in front of him, then you could say the full praise. Right? You call a behema from all of the animals hatahir that are pure. Tikach lecha, you should take for yourself shiva 7:7. Ish ve'ishta, a man and his wife, meaning male and female, and its mate. Mina behema from the animals asher loitahira that are not pure. That are not pure. Shnaim ish ve'ishta, you should take two. Those that are impure. Take two, male and its mate. Rashi, Hatahira. What does it mean that it's pure? What does it mean a pure animal? What do we know what a pure animal is, right? We didn't learn about kosher yet. So Rashi says, Asira liyas tahira, that are destined to be pure, Israel, for the Jewish people. In other words, a kosher animal, right? Like a sheep that are kosher, right? Lamadnu, from here we learn, Shalamad Noach Torah. The Noach learned Torah, right? He had to know the distinction between a pure and impure animal. Shiva takes 7. Why 7 and why the others are 2? Right? Remember 2 by 2? That's how they went, right? Well, there was also 7 by 7. It says so because he's going to bring offerings of the pure ones after he comes out of the ark.
Okay.
Gan, verse number 3. Verse number 3. Second.
You need some to sacrifice, so that's why you need
Exactly. You didn't get me, you got Rashi. Verse number 3. Gamia oiv, also from the birds, Hashemayim, of the heavens. Shiva Zohar Nekeva. Interesting. 7 Zohar, male and female. Here it says male, female. Before it said Ish v'ishtay, a man and his wife, meaning a mate, right? The male and the mate. L'chayos zera al pnei adam, to keep alive the seed over the entire face of the earth. Rashi, Gami Oif Hashemayim, B'Tahir Makosim Medaber. This is also speaking about those that are pure birds rather. V'Lamad Sasam Minaha Mefurash, and not stated explicitly. It's not stated explicitly. And that can be which is stated explicitly in verse 2.
So the impure birds are one pair. Yeah. They don't need sacrifice.
Right. Okay, verse number 4. Ki liyamim oid, for in days, still further days, Shiva, 7 days, Anechi Mamtir, I, God is speaking, right, will rain upon, bring rain, Al Haaretz, on the earth, Arbaim Yaim, 40 days, Arbaim Laila, and 40 nights. Machitzis Kol Yakum, and I will obliterate all that which is being, which is standing. Asher Asisi Mi Al Pnei Adama, that which I have done on the surface of the earth. Rashi in verse number 4, Kili Yamim Oit Shiva, because for in another 7 days, Ela Shiva Yemei Avloi, these, why 7 days? She says, because these are 7 days of mourning, Shemisu Shalach Hatzadik, of the righteous Mitzu Shalach. Shechasa Kodesh Baruch Hu Al Kvaidi. The God had pity on his dignity, on his honor. The Ikev is a paranis, and he delayed the punishment so that proper mourning, the 7 days of mourning, could be properly expressed. Rashi continues, says, go and calculate the years of Mr. Shalach. The team says, Shehem Kolim, and you will find that they end Bishnas Sheish Meyos Shana, in the 600th year Noach, of the life of Noach. Right. And when did the flood happen? In the 600th year of the life of Noach. Shiva, for another 7 days. What do you mean another? That means there was already another 7 days. Zman. This means a time that follows another time period. Then the 7 days, in addition to the 120 years, which were set at the beginning, right? We learned yesterday that for 120 years, he would be building the ark. And telling people that a flood is impending because of their bad deeds. Arbaim Yoim, 40 days. Keneged, why 40 days? Yitzir Savlad, the formation of a fetus from the time of conception. Right, that's why did it rain for this amount of time? Shel Kilkula, because they behave in a depraved way. Atriach to trouble the one that created them, God. Suras mamzerim, to fashion the forms of fetuses of mamzerim.
7 weeks.
Yeah, in other words, in an adulterous union, it is born a mamzer, so they're acting in this depraved way, right? And that is taking form of such. Okay. No, I don't really understand that, but whatever. I need sicha from the Rebbe. Yas Noach, and Noach did kechol shetzibah Hashem, everything that God had commanded him. Yas Noach, he did. Zed b'yaseh l'teva. What does it mean? What did he do? Everything came into the ark.
Why are you talking about illegitimate children here?
Because it's explaining why 40 days that God chose to destroy the world, bring down rain for 40 days, right? Is because they were depraved. We learned earlier yesterday, right, that they acted depraved way. In other words, they had illegitimate children because of improper fidelity, and that's the time that it takes to fashion the fetus. The beginning of the fetus, it's considered a fetus.
Well, why specifically illegitimate? What's the significance?
Well, because this is the punishment. In other words, you acted in the promiscuous manner that you created illegitimate children. That takes 40 days to create. So I'm going to now destroy that creation, right?
because of that, I'm going to destroy it.
The creation in 40 days. It's measure for measure. That's the idea.
Wow. 40 days, so I'm going to pay back in 40 days.
Right. Noach, and verse number 6. Okay. Noach ben Sheish Meos Shana. And Noach was 600 years. Amabul Haya Maim ala haaretz, and the flood occurred with water covering the earth. Okay. That's when it happened, in the 600th year. Sichan the Rebbe on this, explaining what does that mean exactly. Noach, and Noach came, Ubanav and his sons, Ve'ishtay and his wife, and Shebanav and the wives of his sons, Itai together with him, Elateva, to the ark. Mipnei, why did they come? Mipnei me'amabel, because of the water floods. Now, you have a problem in that? Shouldn't he have come because God said to go? Right? Why is it because of the water? Rashi picks up that. Noach ubanav, Noach and his sons, anashim levad. Why is it, it's not a proper way, the proper order, and we had this yesterday already. Noach and his sons, it should be Noach and his wife and his sons and their wives, right? But it says anashim levad, that the men are separate and the women are separate. Why? Because they were forbidden to have marital relations, because the world is in a state of distress. So interesting. Yesterday, Rashi did not say because the world is in distress. He didn't say those words. And today he adds that. So we need to understand, what is the distinction? Why does Rashi have to repeat this, which he said yesterday, right? You need to understand. Because of the water of the flood. Right? What does that mean? Even Noach was lacking faith. He believed. He believed what God said, but he also didn't really believe fully. That the flood would come. And he didn't actually enter into the ark, until the waters forced him. That's what the verse means. Is that clear? I hope we're paying attention to what Rashi is saying and not to our own thoughts and ideas. So we make sure we learn it and we get it the first time we express it. Well, yeah, we're learning Chumash Rashi right now, so let's make sure we're getting it, and what it's being said in the verse.
Except that he's a tzaddik Tommy. It seems that Rashi accepts that Noach is a tzaddik Tommy. How could he explain then that he's a person lacking in faith? Could you be a tzaddik Tommy and be lacking in faith?
That's a good question. Excellent question.
And he seems to accept that, right?
Yeah, Pshuta Shamikra, that's possible. Yeah. How? What that means, I'm not certain.
I'm saying, question on Rashi.
Yeah.
Questioning Rashi, not questioning the.
No, I understand. Well,
questioning the Mikra, questioning Rashi. His explanation of tzaddik Tommy, according to this, is yes. He's
no. So then the question becomes, what does it mean at tzaddik Tommy when we say that he's a complete righteous person? So obviously that either that needs a qualification, right? Otherwise, it's not a tzaddik of Tanya, by the way. It's not a tzaddik of Tanya, right? When we're speaking about over here, a righteous person, it's not a tzaddik of Tanya. Right? For the 5-year-old to understand, he will not understand what it means, the tzaddik of Tanya. That's already a deeper, more profound understanding. So for the 5-year-old, the tzaddik doesn't mean that, but it's still a question. Still a good question.
This doesn't answer anything.
I didn't answer it. I'm just saying but I'm telling you where you're coming from is not what Ben Chumash Lamikra is coming from and what Rashi's explaining. When he's explaining at tzaddik, it doesn't mean the tzaddik of Tanya. Still, we need to understand. I'm not giving a full explanation. I'm lessening a bit the question, because if it was a tzaddik of Tanya, then the whole thing wouldn't make sense. But it's definitely not a tzaddik of Tanya. That's 100%, no question about that.
that's going by Rashi's explanation, that's all.
Yeah. I'm not.
Rashi from himself, not from a tzaddik in Tanya.
No, so I'm saying it's still a.
Rashi between
I
Rashi
am
and Rashi.
I am saying that it is a question. I am just putting the context of the question. That's all. Okay, verse number 8. Well, let's continue because we got to make sure we finish over here. Okay. Mina behema atahira, from the animals that are pure. Umina behema she'einena tahira, and from the animals that are not pure. Umina oif, and from the birds. Bechol asher remes ala adama, and all that are creepy crawlers on the ground. Shtaim, 2. Bo el Noach, they came to Noach. It's interesting. Ela teva, to the ark, Zachar and Nekeva, male and female, Kashetziva Elohim is Noach, as Hashem had commanded to Noach. Rashi, Bo el teva, Bo el Noach, they came to Noach, Me'aleim, on their own. Yeah. Right, we had that yesterday also. Shtaim, 2, Kulam Hushva b'minyan zeh, Mina Pachas, Hayu Shnaim. All were equal, that there were at least this number, meaning a minimum of 2. But it's interesting because it says here from the pure, right? And we just said that the pure had to be 7. And now in the verse, it sounds like, and maybe that's what Rashi is saying, that it had to be minimum 2, right? That's
it came 2 by 2.
Huh?
It came 2 by 2.
No, look what Rashi's saying, right? They were all equal in this number, and that they had to be at least a number of 2, right? The pure were 7. Right. Now that's how Rashi's explaining the verse, because otherwise it's a contradiction to before what it said, 7, right? And here he's mentioning the pure ones.
Where does it say pure ones?
In verse number 8.
It says spiritually defiled.
No, I mean a behemoth Torah, I mean a behemoth ain't Torah.
Both.
Number 8.
Thank you.
And it was 7 days had passed, and the waters of the flood were on the earth. In the flood began in the 600th year of Noach's life, to his life, in the second month, which, by the way, is coming up, the second month, which is Mar Cheshvan. Oh, actually, well, Rashi we'll see, it's a debate actually. On the 17th day of the month, on this day, Nifku, was opened up. It's all of the well springs to Haim that are deep, Rabbah, very deep, very deep. Arubas Hashemayim, and the windows of heaven, Niftachu, also opened up.
Tell me, did the Rebbe write on the significance of 600?
Yes, absolutely. Because Zoyar, actually, from the Zoyar and the Rebbe writes, yes, the Rebbe speaks about it. Well, the Zoyar speaks about it, that in the 5th millennium, the 600th year, right? The windows of heaven will open up, and the windows of the well springs from below will open up, which that means waters are knowledge, heavenly knowledge will descend from above, and earthly knowledge will ascend. So that's about approximately 1840 in the Gregorian calendar, and what that means will not be for now, but you'll have to come back for that one. Okay. Sorry. Chodesh Hasheni, in verse number 11, in the second month, Rabbi Elazar says in Mar Cheshvan, that is the month of Mar Cheshvan, which is one coming up. Rabbi Yehuda Imer, but the Rabbi Yehuda, he disagrees as a year. That's the month of Iyar, because the second month after Nisan. What's the first month of the year is Nisan. The first day of the year is Rosh Hashanah, but the first month of the year is Nisan. So it's a debate over here. Nifku burst open lights, mayhem, to release their water to Haim Rabbah from the great depth. Mida keneged mida, God is punishing measure for measure. Haim chatu, they sin. Ki Rabbah ras Adam. Remember what the verse said. In the end of last week's parsha, that it said the weakness of man was great. Word Rabbah, the loco, and they were stricken. The time Rabbah with the great depth, also Rabbah. same term.
Sounds like in Rashi, there's a contradiction or debate between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua, both saying different months. One is saying the Cheshvan,
Yeah, we just said
and the
that.
other one saying Iyar.
Yeah, we just said that. We just learned that Rashi. Yeah, I mean that's quite apparent that there's an argument,
First day, first month.
right? Quite apparent there's an
day.
argument.
First month.
Okay,
Doesn't
verse
say
number
day.
12.
PC day,
Second.
huh?
Second one.
An argument of what? Well, we're not going to go into right now. There's a lot to go into here, but we first have to finish our Chumash and Rashi, okay? So let's keep the focus. Vahi Ageshem, and it was the rain, alaretz on the land, Arbaim Yom, 40 days, Arbaim Laila, and 40 nights. Right? As the song goes, right? Vahi Geshem alaretz, and the rain was upon the earth. But further it says, further meaning in verse 17, which will be tomorrow. The first verse, it says there, and the flood was on the earth 40 days. Here it says the rain was, and then later it says that the flood was. So why the change? Ella, the reason is because when he brought the rains down, haridam birachmim, God brought them down with compassion. Sheim yachziru, because if the people would return and do tshuva, iyu gishmi bracha, they would be rains of blessing. But at the end of 40 days, when they didn't repent, ayu lamabel, they became a flood. So originally there wasn't meant, right, to be a flood. Or it wasn't, that the people hopefully would do tshuva. Arbaim yoim, 40 days, ein yoim rishon min aminya, and the first day is not part of the number, because the night is not with it. So it's not a full day. A full day begins with the night, followed by the day. But the first day started by day, and therefore didn't have its night with it. So it's like 40 days plus. Shaharek, because it says, on the day, all the fountains of the day of the deep burst forth. Nimsus, it comes out. The 40 days end on the 28th day of Kislev, Rebbe Eliezer, according to Rebbe Eliezer, the months are counted in regular order. Echad Malay, one full. One meaning 30 days, one lacking, meaning it's only 29 days. So you have 12 days of Mar Cheshvan, right? From the 18th, then you have 12 days of flooding through the 29th. And 28 in the month of Kislev, totaling 40. Okay, just giving the calculation. And why does he only give it according to one opinion to Rebbe Eliezer? That's a good question. Glad you asked it. Okay. And the very essence of this day, Noach came, Shem and Cham, Yafis and Yafis, the three sons, Bnei Noach, the sons of Noach, the Eshes Noach, and the wife of Noach, the Shleishes Neshei Banav, and the three wives of his sons, Itam, with them, Elateva to the Teva. What does it mean, Betzim? Why does it say Betzim Hayom Hazeh? The very day. Rashi brings it up and says, the verse is coming to teach us that the people of that generation would say, if we would see him, that he's entering into the ark, we're going to break the ark. We're going to kill him. God said, oh yeah, really? I'm going to bring him into the ark in full view of everybody. Right, Venira, and we will see Divrei Mi Yakum, whose words are going to be fulfilled. You're going to start up with him. I'm going to bring him in the middle of the day. Let's see if you're going to start up with him. You're not going to end up starting up with him. Okay, verse 14. Hema, them. So with V'chol Chaya and all of the wildlife, limina to its type, domestic animal, right? And all domestic animals, amina to its type. And all the creepy crawlers that creep on the earth, the mineo to their types of and all of the birds, the mineo to their types of kol tzipor, al kanaf, and every winged creature. Rashi tzipor al kol kanaf, davaku. This word tzipor over here, bird, is in a construct form, means birds of every kind of wing, right? The rabbis chagovim, which includes locusts, also have wings. Kanav shall noitza. The kanaf, the wings of these birds. So kanaf means winged feathers. So here too, it means birds, but that have a semblance of feathers. That's what that term means. Okay. 15. V'yavay el Noach, and they came to Noach, Elateva, to the ark, Shnaim, 2, Mikol Abasar, from all flesh, Asher Boi Ruach Chaim, that has in it the spirit of life. V'habayim, and those that came, Zachar and Nekeva, male and female, Mikol Basar, of all flesh, Ba'u, they came, Kasher Siva Israel came as God had commanded, Hashem, Ba'adai, and Hashem sealed the entrance behind him. Interesting. Okay, let's see Rashi on that. Yizkor Hashem Ba'adai, and Hashem closed off in front of him. Hagen Allah, meaning God protected Noach. Shaloi be Shabruha. Remember that they said they were going to see him go into the ark, so they saw him go into the ark. So God was protecting that they should not smash the ark. God surrounded the ark with bears and lions, and they would kill those who came to attack the ark. And the simple meaning of the verse is, so Rashi gives that as an explanation, but now Rashi says the simple meaning of the verse is, what was before was not simple. Why did it come first? Sagar kenegdam, that he closed off in front of him, minamayim, protecting him from the water, not from the people, right? That were, but from the water. Similarly, kol ba'ad shebemikra, any instance of with the verse uses the word ba'ad, lashon keneged, means in front of. Ba'ad kol rechem, in front of every womb. Ba'adecha, ba'ad ba'anayech, in front of you, in front of your children. Or ba'ador, skin in front of skin. Or magin ba'adi, shield in front of me. Ispal ba'ad abadecha, pray for your slaves. Keneged abadecha, meaning in front of your slaves, on behalf of them. Just giving an example of what that term means. What bracha? No. What bracha are you talking about?
Block.
Huh?
Word block.
We didn't say the word blocked here. Where? What term? What? I don't know what you're referring to. Let's take a moment and see if we can.
That the God had blocked in front of every workers. Just block one orifice.
So the Rebbe, remember Rashi said in verse number 9, 2, they came to Noach, to the ark. So Rashi said they came on their own. So the Rebbe says we have an important lesson to learn in divine service over here, that when we fulfill God's purpose for our creation. And we were only created to serve God. So when you do it on your part, what you need to fulfill, then all of the rest of the things that need to happen will happen on their own without you needing to put great effort in. Wow. You hear that message? Powerful.
That's fine.
So, remember Rashi said that in our verse, it said that rain was falling. And then tomorrow, the first verse, it says that the rain was for 40 days on the ground, right? And tomorrow, the verse in 17 is going to say that the flood was on the earth for 40 days, right? So why change the term? So Rashi said, because originally God had compassion that if the people will do tshuva, they'll repent, then it's only rain, and rain is a blessing. But if they won't, so then it turns into a flood, right? And that's why only later it says flood, or initially it says, right? So the Rebbe says in a more deeper understanding of this, not simple meaning, in other words, the flood came, as the Alter Rebbe explains in Torah, or it came to purify the world, because the world was filled of Hamas, and we have to destroy, right? And we need to purify it. So actually, yeah, this is, wow, okay. This is coming to tell us that the Mabul was really, why was it 40? Deeper reason why it's 40, because a mikvah is 40 saw, minimum size of a mikvah, meaning, and a mikvah is a place that purifies those that are impure. So the Mabul is called the waters of Noach, right? Which Noach means pleasantness. That's what the word means. So the Mabul, the waters of Noach, the Mabul on the external level is destroying the evil doers of that generation. But from the aspect of Noach, this was a pleasantness because it was bringing purity. You hear that? Yeah. So this is such an important lesson. Everybody following? Hello. Earth is message from the Rebbe that's so important in what's going on in Israel today. The way the Rebbe sees the destruction of Hamas and Hezbollah is a purification of the world. Not merely getting rid of the evil, but really bringing a pleasantness to the world, right? And that's why it's called Geshem first, rain, and then only flood, right? Because externally, it's a flood, but deep down, it's really a blessing. So Pnimis in Yanim, what the Rebbe is saying is phenomenal. Others, Rashi is saying that it's first rain in order that you should recognize that God is bringing you to recognize it's coming from God and therefore do tshuva, right? But then it turns into a mabul. The Rebbe is saying, based on the Alter Rebbe in Torah, or no, it's always rain. And it's always a flood. It's both. It's a flood, right, from the vantage point of the evildoers that they're being destroyed. But from the vantage point of the righteous, it's a purification. In other words, at the same time, both things are true. But it's not merely just destruction, it's actually purification.
Right.
There's both perspectives. Yeah. There's both. Wow, fascinating.